back here on the show to start the fourth segment technically, but to continue on with the live reaction to the picks as they're coming in this second round. The Buffalo Bills are on the clock and the pick is officially in. We're just waiting now for the commissioner to come on and announce the pick. But again, the Buffalo Bills need a wide receiver, need someone to add to Josh Allen because you have this generational type of talent with Josh Allen. You have to do something to add on to it. Yeah, you could change the style, but that doesn't take away from the fact overall that you need to bring in someone to help him out here. Someone is coming up to the podium to announce the pick for the Buffalo Bills. It actually isn't the commissioner this time. I do like how they bring other people on here to announce it. So we will wait here a few seconds, but someone is up on the podium going to announce this pick for the Bills. And, looking at this coverage now, just off topic here for a second, there is a lot of good people that are just announcing the pick. A lot of good coverage out there from ESPN. You have the Pat McAfee show. You have the ABC crew. A lot of good crews out there to analyze. You get different perspectives from a lot of them on whichever one you want to tune into. So I just wanted to throw out an appreciation there because they're all great and they're all really give good insight on the picks and everything like that. But regardless of that, the pick is officially in, and the Buffalo Bills have selected Keon Coleman, the wide receiver out of Florida State, as the 33rd overall pick in this draft. They end up going wide receiver. They select Keon Coleman, who is a great talent, one of the many talented wide receiver prospects in this draft. He now goes to Buffalo to play with Josh Allen and potentially be the number one option. He has great size. He is a great talent overall there, coming from Florida State, playing with Jordan Travis, and the kind of season that they had. Very successful there. He played a big role in that. He comes from success. He knows what it takes to win a lot, so I'm sure he'll add tremendously to the Buffalo Bills. The size that he is as well, a more big-bodied receiver, similar more to a Gabe Davis in Keon Coleman if I were to compare him to somebody right away. It's not something that is out of the realm for the Bills to get accustomed to, especially Josh Allen. So they draft Keon Coleman there out of Florida State. The Patriots now were on the clock, but a trade was just announced that they have traded back with the Los Angeles Chargers, and now the Chargers going from the 5th pick in the second round, moving up to the 2nd pick in the second round via a trade with the New England Patriots. So right away, you're seeing how one wide receiver taken as the first pick in the second round right away changes the perspective of everything. I mentioned the Patriots needed a wide receiver. The Cardinals could have certainly needed a wide receiver to come in and help Kyler Murray on top of Marvin Harrison. The Chargers definitely need one after trading away Keenan Allen, getting rid of Austin Eckler. You have Quentin Johnson there, but he didn't have the best of success in his first year. Dropped a lot of passes, and it was just a down year overall for the Chargers on the offensive side of the ball. They didn't get too much from Austin Eckler as well. So I expect this pick now, which is officially in by the Los Angeles Chargers. The pick is in. I expect it to be a wide receiver now. Who that could be? It could be Ladd McConkey out of Georgia. A.D. Mitchell is still there, a more big-bodied receiver like Quentin Johnson, like Keenan Allen, who they have. Of course, they're different because the route running isn't there. The same sort of style isn't there that Justin Herbert's accustomed to. But oftentimes, these big-bodied wide receivers are more willing to block. It is something that the Chargers have harped on and have wanted to really embrace more of being a physical team, run-heavy team, offensive line based. So that could be something that could be in play here. We'll see how it all pans out. They are showing multiple prospects up on the board, and it is always odd to see. Another thing that I wanted to bring up here, when the draft coverage is on and you see the potential picks of who it could be, a lot of people think that it is live, and you think that it is in the moment that they're sitting there, they might have a bad look on their face or they might seem excited. A lot of times that comes from earlier on, and they're just showing it as it could be live. not to take away from a lot of ESPN and trying to take away from the image that they want to put out there, but seeing the reactions of some of these players, and they might be upset or they might be happy for some reason. It could just have to do with nothing related to the selection that is being made. But, regardless of that, that's something I wanted to point out just looking at it here on the coverage. And the Chargers have the official pick in now. They have someone walking up to the podium representing them to make this selection. The 34th overall pick in the NFL draft in this second round to the Los Angeles Chargers ends up being wide receiver Ladd McConkey out of Georgia. I mentioned him as a possible option. The Chargers now take him here. Could have been a little bit earlier than a few people expect out of Georgia. Not the biggest of guys physically as an imposing wide receiver, jump ball wide receiver, but his biggest attribute and his biggest, attraction to the Los Angeles Chargers and what Jim Harbaugh would have liked there at 5'11" out of Georgia is really his route running, his ability to get open, the separation you get there from him. Similar in a way. I know they look different and almost play a little bit differently, but he just reminds me of Roman Wilson and the kind of role that he had with that Michigan team with Jim Harbaugh there in last season when they had a great year. He almost does the same thing, not really addressed with doing too much route running, getting open, getting 10 receptions per game, but he is a reliable option for the quarterback, for Justin Herbert to be in this season, to run intermediate routes, short routes, just get open in one-on-one coverage. They want to play against the heavy base with heavy sets in there to run the ball more efficiently, and having a guy like Ladd McConkey out there on the outside, hopefully for them in one-on-one coverage and more favorable coverage for Ladd McConkey. One-on-one, he's extremely difficult to match up with. If they get that look, he'll certainly get open, similar to Roman Wilson and what he did in Michigan. I like that similarity there, and I really like the fit for the Chargers. I think overall, Ladd McConkey just seems like the type of player that is willing to do anything for them to win. A real team-spirited guy, really heavily based on trying to do whatever the coach asks of him to win. And now he'll go to Los Angeles with the Chargers to play under Jim Harbaugh and be the second wide receiver taken consecutively to start the second round. Now the Chargers have selected the wide receiver that a lot of people thought they needed. They definitely needed, actually, I should say. And they got the best offensive lineman, in my opinion, in the draft at number 5 in Joe Alt. So now that leaves the Arizona Cardinals on the board with their pick. But another trade has just been announced. The Arizona Cardinals were on the clock there, but now they would trade their pick, third overall in the second round, to the Atlanta Falcons. So the Falcons move up a few spots here to the 35th overall selection in the draft, or actually I should say, 35th overall selection in the second round. Now, you look at the Falcons, defense has to be the pick here, I would assume, right? After getting the quarterback, surprising everybody. I just finished talking about it. They have now moved up a few spots here with the Cardinals to select. I have to be right in thinking it's a defensive player. Officially, the Cardinals trade the 35th overall pick and the 186th overall pick to the Falcons, who gave up their 43 overall pick and the 79th overall pick, going to the Arizona Cardinals from the Atlanta Falcons. So they really only move up 8 spots there. The pick is officially in, so we will see who they have in mind. Jerzon Newton is being shown right now on the coverage of it. He could be an intriguing prospect for them. Really just defensively is all I'm looking for, in all honesty, for the Falcons. They need more edge rushers, more defensive line, more linebacker presence in there for their defense. Raheem Morris is a defensive guy. He's coming from being the defensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Rams. So I think this is an obvious pick for them to make here. they traded up. They certainly have somebody in mind if they traded up a few spots to get him. So there is a bit of worry there that they wouldn't get him. So I'm sure they are very fond of this player, whoever it ends up being, that they're going to draft here in just a few seconds. I mentioned before the Falcons bringing in a quarterback. Yeah, it looks crazy right at the moment. It shocked everybody, but there is insurance there with Michael Penix. I won't get too much into it as well. But defensively, this is where they're really going to improve their team on that side of the ball. You have a guy like Jesse Bates there anchoring the secondary. You need a bit of corner help there just outside of their number one corner. I'm forgetting his name now, of course. It's leaving my head. I can't remember it for the life of me. But they have a solid piece in secondary with that corner and Jesse Bates there, who had an outstanding season. Defensively, again, you have a guy like Grady Jarrett, but you definitely need more in that division where you have Alvin Kamara. White from the Buccaneers also kind of had a breakout season last year. You have those two guys. Yeah, the Panthers might not be the most threatening of teams, but they've brought in some guys. They could be a little bit threatening. They were in close games last year with the Falcons, or at least one of them. So there is something there to address on that side of the ball. I assume it's going to be defense here. Someone is up at the podium now, ready to announce the pick for the Atlanta Falcons. And looking at the time now and where this pick is at, this might be the last pick that I announce on here live on this last segment. It probably will be the last pick. So the Atlanta Falcons up on the board right now. The pick is in. They have selected Rook or Horhoro, the defensive tackle from Clemson. That took a lot of effort to say that. Rook Horhoro, there we go. Rook Horhoro out of Clemson, defensive tackle, 6'4", 294 pounds. They address defense, definitely on the defensive line of the ball. They could line him up now with Grady Jarrett and have that presence there with him at Clemson. 5 sacks, 8 tackles for a loss, and 2 passes batted down last season for the Tigers. 30 career starts in 53 games played. So a good bit of there is coming from the Falcons, and trying to sort that out with them and that defensive side of the ball. Looking at the highlights right now, he looks pretty agile and pretty different from what Grady Jarrett can bring them. Now that adds on to Michael Penix and what they've brought on with him. So overall, really they've addressed 2 positions that I wouldn't say of need other than defensive line and that pressure element. But with Michael Penix, there always is some precedent there that it could be positive in the end. So the Falcons address both sides of the ball. We're just going to have to see how it all pans out for them in the end. But they do address defense. I'm happy with that and announcing that pick. And in saying that, that will conclude today's episode of the GSMC Chip Shot Football Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I want to thank you guys for tuning in to today's episode. And please, if you would, like, follow, and subscribe to today's show. If you would also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok for more of the network's content as well. Outside of sports, too, there is a lot of content out there from both networks. And if you want to see more of me and this show, please check out the GSMC Chip Shot Football Podcast and the GSMC Podcast Network channel on YouTube, where YouTube Shorts are posted on other topics roaming around the NFL. Full live shows are all on there as well. If you want to go back and watch a full live show, you're able to do that, as well as individual segment videos. If you don't want to watch a full show, or if you missed a certain segment and want to rewatch that, all that is available on both channels. And as a reminder, tune in every weekday as well at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time for more NFL conversations and football discussions. More on that around the NFL draft is coming next week, so stick around for that. I want to thank you guys again for tuning in with me, Manny Maradiegue, as your host to today's episode. I wish you guys a great weekend coming up, and I hope to see you guys all back here again on Monday to continue talking about the NFL Draft. Thank you guys, and have a great weekend.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go